as sound on sound performances on numerous records and deep expertise in sound production. Around his own recovery journey, Caleb is passionate about using music as a tool for healing, empowerment, and storytelling, helping others bring those ideas to life while building confidence, community, and new pathways. And with that, I welcome you, Caleb, for our final panel of this.
All right, hello everybody. How's it going? Great. Thanks for hanging around for the panel today. That was such a lovely introduction. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm extremely honored to be part of the creative arts community here at the Fortune Society, where I get to take part in music making with folks every day. So I'm going to bring up our other panelists at this time. And so as I introduce you, you can come up to the stage. So first up, we have Spencer Hattendorf. Spencer is a producer and composer based in New York. Starting his musical journey as a touring musician and songwriter, Spencer eventually found his way into producing for artists and composing for ads, TV, and film. He has worked across a broad collection of styles ranging from pop, R&B, and rock to jazz and classical, with artists like Marcus Mikado, Nathan Fartono, Modesty, Chapedelic, Vicky Sorrentino, Emily Keating, and many others. His work has been featured in film and television projects, commercials, and Spotify editorial playlists, and at the Philadelphia Ballet. He lives in Westchester with his wife and 2 young children. Everybody welcome Spencer. Okay, and next up, we have Malik Simmons. Come on, Malik. Malik is a multidisciplinary artist, poet, songwriter, and producer-engineer who uses music as a tool to shift perception and spark change. Driven by both his passion for creative art and his role as a father of 2, he brings authenticity, purpose, and innovation into his work. Malik is committed to exploring how technology and creativity intersect to amplify voices and inspire communities. And on a personal note, I want to mention that Malik is an invaluable member of this Fortune Arts community, and especially in his role as a teaching artist in music programming, where Malik assists me every week with a mobile recording studio that we built together up at SRP in the Bronx. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have Mark Boogie Brown. Mark, if you want to come up to the stage, sir. Mark is a Brooklyn-bred producer, arranger, and musician whose work helped redefine the sound of New York's underground hip-hop during a pivotal area. A key architect within the boot camp, click, and duck down movement, Brown played an instrumental role in evolving the crew's sonic identity, pushing it beyond traditional sample-heavy boom bop into a richer, more layered sound rooted in live instrumentation. Stepping into a central production role on For the People in 1997, Brown, alongside Buckshot, introduced a bold shift in direction. The album was infused with live bass lines, keys, and textured arrangements that gave the music a raw, yet polished, band-in-the-room feel. Tracks like Heads Are Ready Part 2, Night Riders, Watch Your Step, and Ragtime showcased his ability to balance rugged street energy with musical depth, pairing hard-hitting drums with cinematic compositions that elevated the MC's performances without losing the essence of their Brownsville roots. The lasting impact of his work is clear, with Heads Are Ready Part 2 later featured on Basic Training, Boot Camp Click's Greatest Hits, solidifying its place in the group's core legacy. Brown's creative chemistry with Buckshot continued to evolve under BDI Thug, where he produced standout records including Games People Play, Follow with Pride, I'll Be Damned, and Glide With Me. His contributions gave the project a cohesive, groove-driven foundation, holding its own alongside production from notable names like Just Blaze, Lord Jamar, and Baby Paul. The album remains one of Boot Camp Click's most daring and sonically expansive projects, with Brown at the center of that evolution. Known for crafting beats that are both gritty and musically sophisticated, Brown's signature lies in his ability to fuse pounding rhythms with rich melodic elements, creating soundscapes that feel both street-ready and cinematic. Within Brooklyn's hip-hop circles, he's widely respected as a behind-the-scenes legend, a producer whose work proved that underground rap could expand sonically without compromising its authenticity. Mark Boogie Brown's catalog stands as a testament to innovation within the culture, bridging raw lyricism with musicality in a way that continues to influence the sound of independent hip-hop today. Amazing. I'm gonna come sit down with y'all because it feels real weird being over here all the way.
The mic.
Okay, amazing. So, yeah, first of all, I just want to say again, everybody on this panel, it's a real honor to be in conversation with you all. I know we met each other very briefly on a Zoom call recently, but this is our first time actually being in the same space together in person, which I think is an interesting thing to keep in mind as we talk about technology and the role of music today, too, is that we all connected digitally first, and now here we are in one space together. So I actually just want to get started with, I know we did some intros, but if we could just go down the line here, and I'm going to kind of bring together a couple questions here so that we can respect the amount of time we have, which is, can you describe your current role in the music world, how you came to be involved in music, and what technology you're using in your music practice currently?
I'm part of everything. I was Jimmy Spicer DJ in '76. Super Rhymes, Dollar Bill, y'all. I'm telling our age. So I'm 64. I'll be 64 this year. And Day to Day, I was with him in 2004, his DJ. So from '76 to now, 21 years with Duck Down, Helter Skelter, Smith & Wesson, Workshop, OGCs, BTJs, Drew Ha, and Bush Babies from Warner Brothers. It's a long list. It's a list, trust me. But we work with everything from 2-inch tape now, from Pro Tools to Logic, Fruity Loops. They just dropped a new thing called MPC sample. It's like anybody that want to just become us. They made a platform that's this big, you can put in your bag, go outside and tap and make a beat, sample records, AI, whatever the case is. And I heard somebody say it earlier, there's no room for being dinosaurs or old cans of tuna fish. We're not doing that no more. Basically, you can fit in where you belong from any genre, any type of music, you can fuse it together because we got a space now where it's faster, more convenient. You don't got to work hard. You still got to work smarter, but you don't really got to work hard.
I'm going to definitely come back to you when we start talking about sampling, because I want to hear your perspective on that and what the analogy is with this moment we're living in with AI, which we'll definitely get into later too. But that MPC.
I did some research on AI, so we want to talk about
Cool. I'm sure you did. But yeah, that piece of technology that you just plugged to is for real, like a powerful all-in-one tool.
Everybody needs to invest in that because you get a chance to, whatever you do, it supplies you with having fun first. You don't have to be no super producer. You don't have to play no instruments. And if you into sampling, and they also give you one shots inside. So royalty-free stuff you could play with and create. It's called an MPC sample. They just dropped a new load today. It's only $3.99 opposed to when it used to be. It used to be $3,000 for that machine in 1986 was the first MPC 3000. When I seen it, I was talking to Eddie F because he had it. And I asked him, I said, why does that machine look like a high blood pressure machine? Because it had the pad you can lean your arm on and he was like, no, this is a musical MIDI production center. That was the first evolvement of the genre of music turning into drum machine from bands to drum machine and keyboard and samples. Where, wow, you can hear a voice inside of the keyboard now. Imagine in '86, you sitting down and you know a piano is just for playing, and then you automatically hear, hello, hey, you can touch the keys and you hear vocals. That was amazing.
And I love that era of music. You could hear that people were excited about it.
Yes.
If you listen, you're like, oh, they just stumbled across this new toy. You know, and it's, I mean, deliberate, but it's fun, right? Like you said, fun.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy, right, to be around people that was kind of really watching it come, because it really took away, it moved the bands away. It took the acoustic band away. Wow, you could really have a drummer inside a keyboard. You could play a sax inside of the piano now. It's amazing. Then it just kept evolving and evolving. Then auto tunes came where you don't have to be a singer, but you can close your eyes and be Marvin Gaye now.
It's true. Yeah, so much we're gonna keep diving into. Mark, thank you for bringing all that up. I want to come over to you, Malik, and actually as we move over here too, who are you? What's your role in the music world? And how did you come to be involved in music? And can you talk about some of the specific technology that helped you get to where you are now?
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Malik. I fell in love with music when I was at a very young age. I want to say like 3-4 years old, listening to hip hop. Just talking early '90s to like early 2000s. So, plus Bone Crusher and all of them. So eventually I decided I wanted to be like a lyricist myself, but I didn't want to feed into my communities the way they fed into ours. I grew up listening to a lot of drug dealers and things of that nature, which kind of forced my hand in what I thought was nice or what's the word I'm looking for? It basically influenced me in a sense, and it made me do a lot of dumb things, stupid things. So what I decided to do with my music, I want to preach for change, talking about going through a struggle or something like that, and not having to go sell drugs, this, that, and the third. I want people to feel that music is more about them. It's not about looking like the next person, feeling like the next person. It's about you. It's art. Tell people who you are. So that's what I look forward to doing, expressing myself through my music. And one of the things that I use something called Soundtrack. I got access to it through Fortune Society. I have not looked back since using such software. I started out sampling a lot of things, and it went from sampling to me buying a MIDI controller because I felt like sampling was too easy. I wanted to make my own type of music from scratch, as far as beats, piano notes, guitars, whatever. I wanted to feel more like me, in a sense.
Yeah, and it's been incredible to watch that journey, and I know a lot of us are super proud of all the stuff you're doing, man, for real. And Spencer, last but certainly not least, would you please describe who you are in the music world, what you do, and how you came to be involved in what technology you're using?
Sure. My name is Spencer. I'm a producer. I work with artists to help them make their records. So an artist will have an idea for a song, and they may play an instrument or have some ability to help to make their idea a record, but they might not have all the tools that they need. So I'll work with them to help create the recording around them, and then that's the thing that eventually goes up onto Spotify or YouTube or whatever you're going to listen to your music on. So that can look like a lot of different things, but most commonly I'll be working in a program called Pro Tools that allows me to play instruments and record things and kind of get ideas out, and then eventually kind of create the whole record behind the artist who's going to then record their vocals into it. And then that's what ends up on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. I also do that work for advertising too, so I'll work for create songs or records for companies to help them sell their products. Or I'll also do that for film and TV projects like soundtracking and things like that. I got into music through, my mom is a choir director, so I grew up in a very musical household. And then I started playing instruments. I got into playing bands. And then when I got a little bit older, I got a copy of GarageBand on my laptop and started getting really interested in how to record things and capture things. And then eventually I started working in recording studios and started working in a program called Logic, which is like a grown-up version of GarageBand. And then started working in Pro Tools too. So there's a lot of different tools that you can use to make records. So some of them are easier to use than others. Like GarageBand is kind of the entry level, like free thing that you can get with an Apple computer that lets you start to make music, and then you can graduate to one of the other ones. But yeah, Soundtrap is another one that's amazing. There's all sorts of different programs that you can use.
Yeah, please round of applause. Yeah, thank you, Spencer. And so I just want to actually kind of key in on a couple themes that everybody brought up in their music. And for those of you who are taking notes, GarageBand, Pro Tools, Soundtrap, these are digital audio workstations.
Yeah, they're known as DAWs. They call them DAWs, DAWs.
Yep, and so like
Digital work. Yeah.
like Spencer's saying, there's a wide variety of those. Soundtrap is free, it's online. GarageBand, like you said, comes free with any Apple product. And essentially, they all can do similar tasks. There's a wider range of options that might come at the higher tiers of these programs, etc. But if you're looking to get started, which is actually kind of where I want to go with this, there is definitely an entry place for you. Definitely an entry place. And the other thing that we mentioned was MIDI controllers. That's MIDI controllers. For those of you who have been at the studio at Fortune, we have a MIDI controller there. It looks like a keyboard. The MPC that Mark is talking about is a hybrid machine with keys, pads. Yeah, it's a MIDI controller.
Also a MIDI controller, but it looks like a drum machine.
Yep.
And it has pads on it. And again, it can do all the things a keyboard can do. You can play notes in it, you can play the chords. It's different things that, again, they apply to being creative at a smaller budget. You don't have to be Quincy Jones or Ted Riley now. You can get, even like Logic Pro. It's basically, I use Logic Pro to do Barbershop 2. I did the soundtracks to Barbershop 2 on Logic Pro.
Okay.
So Despicable Me 3, I did that also on Logic Pro 8. We up to 12 now, so it has Logic Pro actually have live instrument virtual AI artists that play. Once you play the music in Logic Pro, if you're a musician, if you're not, you got a little chord thing or an idea, you can tap in. Maybe GarageBand might have it too, right? But it has these AI bass players now, and a keyboard player, and a live AI drummer that'll go along and play along after you make a project. And it's only $199 in Apple. So again, it has the vehicle to do vocals, become an engineer, Logic Pro 12, $199. You can be an engineer, a musician, a video person, AI, whatever you want in this thing. And the baby version, what is it, GarageBand? Does GarageBand have vocals now? What about Pro Tools? Does Pro Tools have plugins and music?
They do, yeah. Most of these and Soundtrap included come with a built-in library of sounds and samples, which is what Mark is talking about too. And so I want to actually, because I know we're like actually quickly approaching the end of our time, and so I think the most important thing and what I hear everybody talking about is your entryway into music. And I hear from folks that I get the pleasure of working with all the time, like, oh, I gotta learn this instrument, I gotta learn this instrument, I gotta learn this music theory, and all of that stuff is wonderful. Like, I think it helps a lot. But I wanna just leave people with the most important thing I want folks here to take away is you can start right now. Like what Mark is saying, what we're all saying up here, you can start right now. Malik mentioned starting with samples, right? You can layer samples and create a whole song without ever having played a note of an instrument yourself, right? And that's still artistic. That's still super artistic, right? And so I guess I'm going to start in this direction and come down, but what advice, like where would you tell somebody to start if they were trying to get into music right now?
Sure. Yeah, I think like Mark was saying earlier, I mean, Logic is a really good, for the price point in particular, a really good way to get into it because it has an enormous amount of tools that can help you, whether you're someone who has played a note of music in their life or not. There's a lot of really good tutorials online also for people who use these programs and can teach you how to do them yourself that are free just on YouTube. there's also, even if you just want to do it on your phone, there's a program like Soundtrap or like a Band Lab where you can, download a beat off of YouTube and just record yourself doing it through your phone into the program. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. And a lot of very incredibly successful artists have started in that exact same way. And whether you want to be the person who is the vocalist, like the artist on top of it, or you want to just learn how to produce or something, these tools, particularly, I would just personally recommend the Apple ones because they're very user-friendly and very beginner-friendly. But the other ones are great too. Soundtrap is, I'm sure it's a great program too. I just haven't used it myself.
That's great. Somebody brought that by my house the other day, and they did their stuff in it and was able to press a button and master the songs and put it in the algorithm of being sent right to Spotify and to all the other platforms that sell a record. Just like that. So it's like, even if you one thing, I'm loud, so this makes me seem like I'm talking loud. You can hear me though, right? Everybody can hear me? Oh, okay, so yeah. The thing is, it's crazy how I'm so excited because it don't stop. It keeps going. Like, music is evolving to a point where it has no discrimination. It gives a lane for everybody that has the creative source in their head. So you don't have to worry about thinking that you might need somebody that might deter you to think about what they're doing in their head. You can also get involved in what you got in your head and be your own creator of what you're feeling and what you're actually hearing in your head, opposed to somebody basically trying to actually charge you to have a title or gatekeep whatever you're doing. That's what he was talking about, how to actually become a point where you can become an individual and find your lane and inspire others to see. Because a lot of times we get misguided by the dark side of music. You know what I mean? It's weird, but it's powerful. Now, one thing I just want to say.
Mark, I'm going to jump in real quick because we got 2 minutes left, and I just want Malik to get a chance to answer this question as well. So Malik, where would you tell somebody to start? What would be your first, this is how you can start making music right now?
To be honest, I think I'd go with BandLab because that's one of the first softwares I've ever touched to start making music. I found it pretty easy to operate as far as them having like a loop maker. You can literally decide which sounds you want on a beat pad and actually play those. And it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. And then after that, I suggest Soundtrap because it has a little more of an open library as far as sounds. You get vocals there. You get different beats, horns, whatever you need. Honestly.
How much SoundLab costs?
Soundtrap is actually free.
Oh, it's free. Okay, so what about SoundLab?
BandLab is free. Also, I think they do have paid versions where you could pay for a little more access to different stuff. But
okay.
They all have a pretty decent base level for you to get into it, learn it, and then decide, is it worth my money?
And I'll give
a novice level, I have no idea.
And I'll give a plug too for Fortune community members. So Soundtrap is actually a program that we teach folks to use in our beat making workshop, which Malik helps to facilitate as well. And then for folks who are looking to come in and get some more hands-on experience with things like MIDI controllers, these digital audio workstations, we also have those in Bluestone Studio at the Long Island City Center. And now as part of the Bluestone mobile unit that Malik and I have built up, that can travel around with us too. So if you are sitting here listening and you're like, okay, cool, now where do I get my hands on it? Come hang with us. We do a songwriting workshop on Fridays from 11 to 12:30. The studio is also available to any Fortune community member to be booked for an hour session at a time. And if you have any other questions, we're going to be around for a little bit. We're actually at the end of our time. This went so fast because I know we all love music and could talk about it forever, but I want to just give a big round of applause to our panelists. And shout out to Adrian, Jacob, Milo, and Sean, the entire digital equity crew for putting this together. Disney, I hear you over there. YouTube, thank you all, the whole digital equity crew. This has been great. Thanks for having us. And I think we have another giveaway coming up. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say, so we've come to the close of our tech fair, and I want to say thank you for everyone who stayed. It was a rather long day. And I know typically at these events after lunchtime, you get some food in your belly, the blood goes to the belly and you gotta slow it down. So I get it. And so I just want to say I appreciate everyone who stayed. And before I do that, I want to, give some concluding remarks. I know today we talked about, digital equity and how it pertains to everything in which we have fortune and how it affects the community. And I hope that many of the panels that we had here today resonates with you guys in some way. At the top we had Trent Griffin talking about access to opportunities, entrepreneurship. At the top we had our CEO Rob who talked about a conversation, which is important. We had several conversations today, and I truly hope that at some point, at some moment during some panel, one of these conversations resonated with you and inspired you to have more conversations and to get active and pursuing your interests. We had Tiffany who led a discussion that talked about parenting and AI and how that connects with families, and I thought that was rather interesting as well because we talk about the connection between generations and the digital divide and how people are becoming estranged within their family groups. I think that we should look at this from a positive perspective and look at how we can use AI to bridge some of those gaps, right? And then we had Mark Solomon who discussed, healthcare and AI. I thought that was rather interesting. I think that, those are challenges not just that we face, that everyone face, right? But as a community who's been, hasn't had access to opportunities and technologies, I think it's very, very important that we understand these things and have conversations and seek out information, in respect to healthcare. And then, we had our guy, right? Bob had a discussion on respect to professional development and job opportunities. That's very important too, because at the crux of everything we do, we know that a lot of things that place barriers in our way of in life are access to jobs and opportunities. So I just hope that, these panels that we had today were able to inspire you, that sparked some thoughts and some ideas in respect to that. And that you enjoyed yourself. And before we conclude, I want to bring up two gentlemen who were instrumental in making this fair possible. So, Andre Ward and Dr. Ronald K. So, and I want to just give you a few departments, and then we'll get into another raffle as we leave. I think that's important too to live on that even I know. So Andre Ward is the executive director of John Jay's Institute for Justice and Opportunity. He's a national advocate and leader in justice reform with more than 15 years of experience in advancing policy, education, and workforce development for communities impacted by the criminal legal system. Andre has also previously served as an associate vice president of policy at the Forest Society David Rothenberg Center for Public Policy. Shout out to Fortune and DRCCP, right? His leadership has also included senior roles at Common Justice and the Osborne Association, spanning program development, workforce initiatives, and restorative justice practices. A respected strategist and speaker, he speaks really well. Andre brings deep expertise across policy implementation, clinical practice, and systems leadership, helping to drive cross-sector solutions that expand opportunity, strengthen communities, and advancing lasting justice reform. So let's clap up for Andre. And last but not least, Dr. Ronald F. Day, our Chief Operating Officer. Get that right? At the Forest Society. And when he provides executive leadership across core programs, policy, research division, his work focuses on advancing reentry, which we know is very, very important to the work we do, dismantling barriers to reintegration, very, very important to the work we do, and strengthening systems that promote long-term community safety and opportunity. Dr. Day is also a nationally recognized leader in justice reform. He oversees key departments including education, employment services, transitional services, and again, the David Rothenberg Center for Public Policy, right? Driving efforts that combine direct service research, advocacy to transform outcomes for just impacted communities, and just to add a little bit to this, grounded in lived experience and academic achievement. As I said, Dr. Ronald D. holds a PhD in criminal justice reform, right, from CUNY Graduate Center and John Jay College, and is a respected voice in advancing equity, evidence-based approach to reentry, and systems change. Give it up for these two gentlemen.
Yeah, who paid Reggie to say that? I don't know all of that stuff that you're talking about. First of all, let me just say thank you everybody for coming out today. It's incredibly important that you come out to these kind of events because one, it speaks to your commitment to learning. Two, it speaks to your understanding of how important this issue is. And three, you leave out of here empowered, better than what you came in, or informed. And so thank you everyone for being part of today's Tech Fair 2026. What we experienced today was bigger than a conversation about technology. It was a conversation about access, about opportunity, about creativity, health, workforce development, and rebuilding the lives through connection and innovation. I say connection and innovation because those two things taken together is what helps change the world and the conditions in which we're in. The other thing it reminds me of is the importance of connection. This person you see right behind me, Dr. Day, we've been following each other for many, many years. I think I've known Dr. Day now since 1993, maybe, right? We met when we were incarcerated in Green Haven Correctional Facility. Dr. Day came home in 2007. I came home in 2009. He had no degrees. I've been following ever since. He got his associates, his bachelor's, his master's, his doctorate. I followed him, and I'm still trying to catch him. He got into Osborne Association when he came home. I started working at the Osborne Association. He started working at Fortune. I started working at Fortune. He became the Associate Vice President of the David Rothenberg Center for Public Policy. I became the Associate Vice President of the David. And I'm saying that not to arrogate to myself or Dr. Day's self the importance of us. I'm sure I'm sharing with you the importance of connections. Each of you have come here today to connect with an issue and with other people to transform the systems in which we're in. So we also saw what becomes possible when institutions, community, and organizations and impacted communities work together with intention. Partnerships between the Fortune Society and the Institute for Justice and Opportunity at John Jay College, public agencies, employers, and community partners help create pathways that move people from exclusion to opportunity. Most importantly, we want to thank everybody who showed up, coming willing to learn, connect, and imagine what a more inclusive digital future can look like. I want to thank all of my colleagues from the Institute for Justice and Opportunity this year, Roy Dell Cox, who is our Associate Director of Development and Communications, our Senior Director of Program Research and Community, all of the Institute of Justice and Opportunity colleagues. And we want to especially thank the Fortune Society, Dr. Rob DeLeon, Randy, Lily, all of those who are here from Fortune for their leadership. And lastly, on behalf of President Carol Mason here at John Jay College, we are grateful that you have chose John Jay to offer this important experience. So thank you very much, and I'm gonna pass it to the person I've been following all these years, Dr. Ronald Day.
Now I'm following Mr. Ward, as he said. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. So I wasn't like Mr. Ward prepared some comments, and Rob this morning prepared comments. I was like, sometimes I come and I just say what comes to heart at the moment. You know, I just like to say extemporaneously whatever's happening, however I'm feeling. And one thing I say is, a couple of years ago, we said, Adrian, Carla, and some of us, that I was telling them that we need to take the show on the road because we had hosted the tech fair at Fortune, and we had a lot of our participants come out. We had, some other folks come, and I was like, we need to take the show on the road. And Adrian looked at me like, oh boy, here we go. And I would just say that coming in here this morning, last year when we came in, the room was about as full as it is now in the morning. And the room was not even half this at the end of the day, probably less than half. When we came here this morning, the place was packed. For those of you who were here since this morning, this place was jam-packed. I was saying to my colleague Yuri that we might need to pick a bigger venue next year because we keep growing and expanding this notion about digital equity and the importance of people learning as much as possible on this particular subject in the partnership with Andre and the team at IJO and President Mason is really, really a blessing. So again, I want to echo Andre's sentiments. Just thank you all for hanging around. You know, we're giving out these prizes throughout the day, and part of the reason we want people to stay here until the end of the show, right, until the end of the segment, until the end of the event, because there's valuable information that's shared throughout the entire day. And you heard Trent this morning. I thought that his presentation was pretty powerful, and I wrote down some notes about that. And what it made me think about was, you know, as someone who served 15 to 45 years in prison, 15 years in prison, and 5 years on parole, and you know, I wrote a dissertation about people with criminal history and employment opportunities. And so this made me think about that because he was saying how so much has changed over the years, and that if you're not knowledgeable about technology, then you're really going to be left behind. You're going to be left behind. And when you look at the reports that are out there now, they tell us that 60% of people are unemployed at least a year out once they've been released from incarceration. 60% of people are still employed a year later. That's obviously not a good thing. Now, it doesn't mean that individuals don't have some skills and that, as Trent said, that some companies are not hiring. Some of them are hiring, right? There was only one time that we know of where there was the unemployment rate was determined for people with criminal records, and I'll just tell you what that was. So the Prison Policy Initiative in 2018, they did a study and they looked at what's the unemployment rate for formerly incarcerated individuals. This is the first and last time that this has ever been done. The unemployment rate was 27%. And you might think, well, what does that mean, 27%? During the Great Depression, at the height, right, of unemployment, it was 25%. So we're talking about 27%. So there is a lot that needs to be done, and technology is going to be a real important catalyst for changing the paradigm. But people have to be interested. A lot of us are not really interested in technology. A lot of us are not really thinking about like AI, what have you. And Rob was saying this morning, what I did was just independently, I was like, you know what, I'm trying to learn as much about this subject because having served all this time, I don't want to be left behind. So what I do, I go on YouTube. I watch videos about AI. I listen to presentations. I listen to TED Talks. Every weekend when I'm in the gym, I spend at least an hour or 2 hours listening to information related to AI and related to technology. That's how, and I've been doing that for months. So every single week, I'm just trying to acquire more and more information. I would suggest that you think about how is it that you can continue to build your knowledge. Even you're not trying to necessarily become a technology expert, but you do want to support individuals, whether they're your kids, whether they're your siblings, whether they're your parents. If they need some information about technology and you can't help them, what you have to do is say, well, let me get somebody else to do this. Let me get somebody else to do that. Then, like you just saying, how much of an investment you want to make in something that's going to be vitally important for the future. There's a lot of critiques that we could offer about technology, a lot of critiques that we could offer about AI in particular. But as Trent said, as others have said, this isn't going anywhere. It isn't going anywhere. And just like we talk about phones, before I went to prison, I had a phone that was this big. I was, well, people like, what you doing with this phone? Like, that was the first phones. My first bill was like $1,000 from that phone. I mean, nowadays, everybody has cell phones. I mean, who would have thought when the phones first came out that they would be as ubiquitous as they are? Everybody has a cell phone now. So again, technology isn't going anywhere. We appreciate you all sticking around. those of you who won prizes, congratulations. I think there's still, Adrian, going to be a couple of additional prizes that's going to be given out. So those who stuck around, somebody's going to be like, I'm glad I was the last one to get a prize.